This podcast is brought to you by Philisis, a digital product design and development company. For today, we have Mr. Shashank Mishra, who is working as data engineer at Amazon. He has worked with companies like McKinsey and Paytm and also runs his YouTube channel called The E-Learning Bridge. So let's get started.
Yeah. Hello, Shashank. Hope you are doing great.
Hi Dikshita, yep, absolutely doing good. And thank you so much for inviting me on your channel. And that's a great opportunity to interact with your audience.
Thank you so much for coming to my channel. Like, welcome to Fitty Show. And how is the cold there?
Uh, that's fine. But now winter is going, so probably good weather to live with. But definitely the COVID scene not that good and letting people to go out and enjoy the things.
Yeah. So, like, work from home and YouTube, everything, like, it's going pretty great, right?
I would say it's going pretty great because when you have multiple things, then you need to kill your personal time. So for me,
Yeah.
yep, I'm in the like same shoes that managing office, YouTube videos, LinkedIn, other communities. So yeah, it's a pack kind of thing. Like every day, I'm completely busy. Whenever I'm like having a free time from my office work, I dedicate it to my video part and the community part, so that's how like it is going on.
That's a pretty busy schedule for you. So,
Yeah.
how's your school life? Like, you were like really interested and enthusiastic about tech right from your childhood, or it was a gradual thing? Like when you went to college, you thought, Ki, I have to study now, or else there
Mhm.
was the career that pressure made you fall in love with tech, and then you started doing that.
Okay, so yeah, the story is quite interesting to be very honest. I was not that guy who was too much into the technical side or the tech savvy person. I was not that kind of guy. I was just following the typical road, like, yep, just do the schooling, whatever they are teaching, just get that knowledge. Whatever will happen in the future, I had no idea, no clue, like how it is gonna be, what I will prepare, and because in that in that age, I mean that 10th 10 plus 2, that period people have so many dreams. Okay, probably I'll prepare for IITs and ITs, I'll go for engineering, I'll go for defense exams, civil services. People had so many dreams, but I was the guy who had no dreams at that time because I was confused, and there were some genuine circumstances for that, like lack of awareness, lack of guidance, right?
Mhm.
And along with that, I was also like my family was passing through financial crunches. So even let's say I would have planned, and that too I decided, like I talked to my father that probably I'm planning for the like IIT preparation and these things. But somehow I realized that financial conditions are not that good. And obviously, to prepare for the IITs, you need to join a coaching, and obviously, the good uh, tuition fee and the good coaching fees you need to pay, right?
Yeah.
So the school life was very normal. Okay, I would say, because everything was random, no thoughts. Till 10 plus 2, I was like so good in the science domain, right? Like physics, chemistry, maths. I was interested in that part. So even like in when I was like passing my 10 plus 2, I was thinking, okay, what I can do, basically I'm good in physics, chemistry, math. I can go for BSc kind of thing, and then plan for MSc, PhD, and the teaching domain. That was the thought. But also, like in 10 plus 2, I was trying for the defense exams. Like I knew about NDA, right?
Mhm.
So I appeared in that exam and I was able to crack it as well. But when I went for the SSB part, that was the tough part, like 5 days of SSB and all. So I was rejected in the third day itself. But that was a really good experience for me. And I was so scared of the exams, to be very honest. Mean the competitive exam at that time, like AI triple E was there and the UP2 exam was there. So I was so scared of it. I mean, they people around me, they were telling me that okay, you should go for AI triple E exam. Okay, let's say doesn't matter whether you have joined coaching and prepared well. since you have done your 10 plus 2, you should go for these engineering exams. So probably you will get a good engineering college, go for BTech and all these things. But since I knew about my financial situation, so I just opted for the BSc, right? And that story was also like different. I mean, as I told you, right? 10 plus 2, I was planning to go for BSc PCM side and then MSc and all. So I have, I mean, a very weird kind of thought process. Like, I keep on thinking that, okay, what I have missed, and at a particular point in time, what I can cover and what new I can learn. So that started from the 10th itself. So in 10th, I randomly chosen commerce, right? And I performed well. I scored good grades in commerce, like in the 10th. Then like my parents were sure that this kid is good in the commerce side, so he can plan for the CA side and all. They started preparing their dreams kind of thing. But as I said, like I have a weird kind of thought process. So when I was in the 10 plus 1 in my 11th standard, I dropped that idea. Okay, I won't go for commerce. I haven't touched the science side, like physics, chemistry part. So I think I should go for it. So I randomly opted for physics, chemistry, and math, like science stream, and that went on. Like it was good. I mean, 10 plus 2 went very well. Again, scored good grades, and even at that time, like definitely, I was confident that I'll definitely go for BSc PCM group. But when I was going to fill the form for the Lucknow University, there in the middle, like during the distance from the home to the Lucknow University, randomly I decided, okay, I haven't touched computer yet. Now the time has come. I can go for computers as well. For safer side, I just skipped chemistry, and in place of chemistry, I added computer science. So that was my combination: BSc, physics, math, and computer science. So what was my plan? Like, okay, in the third year, I will be having an option where I can drop one subject. Let's give 2 years to computer science, and if things goes well, we will plan something. So that's how the school life and the entire journey for the BSc computer science. The random things, definitely.
It's like it's pretty inspiring for people who are literally confused in life. So many are like
Yeah.
scared whether should I do it or not, what will happen, and then they don't do it. They don't even try for it, and they don't know what it would have been for them. So
Correct.
that's like
For
an
me,
amazing journey.
I was
Yeah.
also in the same situation because, as I said, lack of awareness, lack of guidance. But
Mhm.
since I have done those kind of mistakes, so my recommendation would be definitely you should plan your things beforehand. Like you have to be self-aware. Uh, let's say you are in your 10 plus 2. I I'm pretty sure like you won't be mature enough to plan your future like for the next 5 years, 6 years, but at
Mhm.
least for the next 1 2 years you can plan your things according to your interest, right? So that like when you are in the middle of your graduation, you are not so much confused about your future. Okay, I should go for the jobs, government exams, masters, MBA, or any kind of a stream. That happens. Like
Mhm.
that is very natural with the students. So
Mhm.
that's my sincere advice to everyone. Please be aware and plan things beforehand.
Yeah, planning is like you want to say, like planning is really important, and one should be very self-aware of what is happening and what are the opportunities available. Then you choose. Like,
Yeah,
but first be
yeah, correct.
aware of everything. Yeah. So you
Yeah,
did
correct.
BSc from a tier 3 college, and after that you scored excellently well in the entrance exams, and you got into NIT. So do you feel like getting
Mhm.
into NIT somewhere helped you carve your career?
The answer would be yes. It helped me a lot. And again, the MCA story was a random thing, a random plan. So obviously, getting into the tier 3 colleges, and especially, I won't say Lucknow University, not into the tier 3 colleges because it is a obviously a university and government university. So in the north side, there is at least at that time, like back in 2011, when I was entering into this Lucknow University. So education environment wasn't that good in the government universities, to be very honest. No proper facilities and like faculties. uh, I'm pretty sure they had no plans to like teach the students and all. And even like we were not, also not that much serious, because we were living in that kind of unstructured educational environment, right? So that's
Yeah.
what I was saying. I mean, the lack of awareness, lack of guidance, lack of self motivation, intent, dedication, everything was missing, completely missing. So starting 2 years of my graduation, that was complete waste. I didn't learn anything. I was still zero in computer science. I was just mugging up the things in order to pass my exams, so that at least somehow I passed my graduation with first division, so that after that, at least after the BSc third year, I can plan something.
Mhm.
But I was not sure like what I will plan. So that's the thing. So in the third year itself, like when I was sitting in my class, so I saw a paper cutting. There, a girl scored second rank in UPMCA. Okay. And she was about to take admission in HBTU Kanpur. That was a good engineering college. Okay. So that time, like when I saw that picture, okay, then I thought, I have done BSc in computer science. I can definitely also plan for like MCA. And as I already told you that I was so scared of the competitive exams, like I didn't like, except from the NDA, the defense exams, I didn't appear into any competitive exam like before the NIMSET and other MC entrance exams. So that was the turning point. So for that, definitely I started exploring about the good coachings, because even at that time I had no idea like what NIMSET is, what NIT is actually, what all NITs are there which are conducting this MCA program. And apart from that, like how other colleges are performing or how other colleges are treating MCA course, like Pune University exam, JNU, BHU, and Hyderabad Central University. So there were like lots of exams which were available for the MCA core, but definitely NIT's brand itself, and it was the top-notch thing to crack. So
Yeah.
that was my plan, and I joined a coaching in Lucknow. In my BSc third year, it was a definitely very hectic year for me, because I have to attend the classes as well. My like third year BSc third year classes. Along with that, I had to spend 7 8 hours in the coaching itself, right? And when I used to come back to home, then again I need to like solve the sheets. And because to crack the MCA entrance related exams, you have to be good in mathematics side, right? That
Yeah.
too, like of AI triple E level kind of mathematics, right? So that was the thing. It was a very hectic year for me, and but that struggle basically turned into a good result. The third year, whatever efforts I did, that was a really fruitful for me. And means this NIMSET, this exam basically completely changed my life. And when I joined NIT, I scored basically all India rank 43, and definitely scored good ranks in other exams like BHU, HCU, and UPMCA. But my priority was definitely to go into the NIT Allahabad. Obviously, I would have go for NIT Trichy, Surathkal, Warangal, but I had to stay as near as to my family. And Allahabad is like 250 kilometers away from my hometown. So that was my prime reason to go for NIT Allahabad. And also I had this thought, okay, uh, and one thing I just would like to clarify, that people who have this kind of thought, that someone who is studying from a tier 1 college, then probably he'll get the jobs very easily, right? I would say we will get an edge definitely, because good companies, they definitely used to visit the tier 1 colleges at the first. And but the main thing is, we need to do the hard work itself, right? It's not like that in the interviews we are not performing well, still they are hiring us. That is not the scenario. If we are performing well, then we'll get hired, else not. So the level of effort in terms of preparation, it will be definitely same for students who are studying from a tier 3 colleges, and a student who is studying from a tier 1 college, tier 2 college. So the level of effort definitely same. The advantage for the tier 1 students would be like they will get the interview opportunity easily because most of the companies are visiting their college. But for the tier 3 colleges, there the this would be the biggest challenge, like the job opportunities. But now, as I say, like now the scenario has been completely changed. As I already told you that if you are self-aware, like if you know what actually you need to do, then you can definitely get the good opportunities. Nowadays I have met n number of people on my channel itself who are from the tier 3 colleges, and they have cracked good top companies, right, based on their efforts, self-awareness, and good profile, coding skills, programming skills. So they have done, like if they are able to do it, I'm pretty sure you can also do that. So we have only two things to follow: either work hard, either make excuses. Now the choice is yours, what you actually want to do. So that is the thing. I mean, yep, NIT definitely given me those opportunities where I can perform, and I can get good job opportunities. But also, irrespective of these things, hard work would be the key.
So the basic point will be like, no matter which college we are from, we need to create our environment. It's okay that we are from a tier 3 college. We don't get the environment, like the coding environment that we get in
Yeah,
NITs and IITs, but we can create our own, right? So we need to create
yeah,
our environment, make ourselves prepare for everything, and then it's same for everything. Like the cracking the job, it will be same. Like same questions will come for the NIT guys, and same will come for the tier 3 guys also. So that's pretty
yeah,
amazing.
definitely.
So like, when we are in college, we will like YOLO mode. Like you live only once, so party hard, do this,
Mhm.
do that, travel here. And sometimes when we are living this life, like all of these things are pretty new to a kid, so they get deviated. So they keep their studies secondary, and they absolutely loses their path, right? So like, did you also have some kind of YOLO moments when you were in college,
Uh,
like?
Not as such, to be very honest. But for me, this was definitely a new thing because studying into the Lucknow University, I was not living the hostel life, right? So I was desperately like when uh, like it was clear that yep, I'm going to join NIT. So I was so excited. Okay, now the time has come where I'll be living the hostel life, and I was also scared. Okay, how it is gonna be because people are talking about the ragging part and all these random things and scary part, right? So I was also very scared that okay, how it is gonna be, and leaving friends here, new people, new environment, how I'll be surviving there. So those were the thoughts. uh, but as what I learned in like during the college life and the hostel life, that when you are in such kind of situation where you have to do your things like by your own, like nobody would be there to help you out. I mean, I'm talking about the family, like emotional support and the mental support or any kind of support, nobody would be there. You need to handle yourself, right? You need to grow as a personality, you need to survive in the limited resources. Okay, so those were the things. And the college life, definitely this is the golden time. Everybody whosoever is living this time, and after like 5-10 years, definitely he and she is gonna miss those days, the college time. I miss my college days a lot. The hostel life, random masti, and hanging out with friends, and random things with the faculties, teasing them, and the hostel life. Uh, that was so cool. I mean, I definitely miss those time because I also got to learn things from there. Got a good teammates, and you can say basically batchmates. My circle was good. There were people who were technically good as well, people who were average as well, people who were keen to learn. So it was a good combination of folks. So my friend circle was so good, to be very honest. And we were like, there were no as such egoistic kind of thing in between us. Whosoever was good in one thing, we will try to help each other. Okay, I can teach you this, you can teach with this. So that's how we were collaborating, and that's how we grown together. So we enjoyed hard, definitely. We explored new things, like how well we can spend these 3 years. So I am pretty sure that I utilized my those 3 years of post graduation really well. And if someone who is about to start their college life, academic part is one thing, definitely you should be focusing on that. That should be the prime focus. But apart from that, you also have a personal life. I mean, this, it won't come back, right? If you are not enjoying it, you are just focusing in one direction, that is also not a good way to live your life. So enjoy everything, take participation in different things, different events, enjoy, join clubs, committees, and be active in extracurricular activities, because I have taken part into these things, and what I felt that those things helped me a lot to grow as a personality, like interacting with different people, interacting with a crowd, because sometimes people have a like fear of public speaking as well. So those things somehow helped me a lot to grow as a good personality, and it improved my positivity, and it improved my communication skills as well. And basically overall, I can say it helped me to learn good soft skills as well. So yeah, enjoy your life, college life to the fullest.
So basically, those who are entering the college, enjoy it, but have a balance. Remember that you need to study
Yeah,
also.
definitely.
Yeah, and
Yeah, that's what I
good.
said. You have
Yeah,
to
yeah,
have a good balance of your academic life and your personal
yeah,
life. Make a good
yeah.
balance and you will enjoy for sure.
Yeah, that's what you learn from Shashank Mishra's story, that have a proper balance and a nice friend circle that can help you in all
Yeah,
your
that's
steps.
important.
Yeah. So,
Correct, correct.
like, tell me a bit about your journey from Opera to Amazon.
Mhm.
Like, you have worked in so many big tech companies. So, what were the steps that you took, and what kind of stuff that you did that led to Amazon?
Yeah, sure. So as I uh, as I said, right, when I entered into the NIT, the biggest challenge in front of me was compete with others, because there were people, mostly majority of people who were joining NIT just after the 10 plus 2, right? And also there were maximum number of people who got that environment, like the computer science domain environment, right? So competing with them was the hardest thing for me, because as I said, I wasted my 3 years of graduation. I was zero in computer science. So even in the NIT, I had to start from the zero. So starting my first year, I definitely focused a lot on my weakness. Like programming was my weakness. The understanding of data structures algorithm, that was also one of my weakness. I had no past background of competitive programming, so I also focused on that part as well in the first year. But again, still things were missing. I mean, the awareness part. And for that, I blame myself as well, that I was not that much self-aware. And again, some circumstances as well. Like even our seniors were not that much aware with the things which we can follow to grow as a good engineer, to basically make ourselves interview ready, job ready, or to prepare for the good product based companies or the tech giants. So they were also not that much aware. So that was the reason, like the thing that was missing, I was lacking a lot in my development skills. So even in the 3 years of my uh, post graduation, like MCA, I didn't learn any kind of development skill. Like nowadays, if you can see, like the LinkedIn is a good platform, there you will be able to see people are doing open source contribution, and starting from their college life, they are taking part in hackathons, right? They are building good projects, learning new technologies, right? They are improving themselves as a good engineer. But I didn't get that kind of environment. So that was the reason, like I was only focused few things, the programming, DSA part, aptitude part, CS core fundamentals, so that I can get a decent job. And from that time, even like during the placement time, I was so much fascinated with the Amazon's name, right? So that was my dream company itself. But when company started coming for the placement, so Amazon was the first company and I was rejected in the written round itself, right? And after that, like 6 7 companies came, like Paytm, Wooker, Sap Labs, okay, and 2 3 more companies, and I was not able to clear the return round of these companies, 7 8 companies starting. It was very very demotivating for me as well. But I couldn't have, you can say I couldn't have performed well in the written round. So I had only two options: either keep blaming myself or just kept feeling demotivated, or forget the things, analyze the mistake, and prepare hard for the next interviews. So I chosen the second option. So in the eighth company was Opera Solution. I was able to crack its round, and that went really really well, and they hired me. So people who think like folks who are studying from tier 1 tier 2 colleges only get packages of 20 lakh 30 lakh, that's not true. I started my journey with 5 LPA, 5 lakhs per annum, right? So now I think I'm here also trying to break some myth about the tier 1 tier 2 students, that somehow like yep situation would be exactly same, right? So that's how like I started my journey with 5 LPA. And as I said, I had no idea about the latest technologies and all. So Opera Solution was basically a service-based company. There I was working as a software engineer, okay, and basically working on the front-end part, back-end part, these kind of thing. But somehow I interacted with different people in Opera Solutions, because those people were working on the big data domain. So I had interaction with them. I got to know few good things about the big data domain, which looked really interesting to me. And in the 2017 mid, I would say, I started exploring this big data domain. And since it was looking very interesting to me, so I gained good understanding of different terminologies, fundamentals, basics, and explored good frameworks that are being used in the big data domain. So that's how I explored. And when I thought that now it's a good time where I should take a move as a big data engineer, because obviously I wanted this one, the big data engineering, as my career profile. So I took a move. I planned for my first switch. That time again, I applied in Amazon second time, but even in the 2019, in my second attempt, I was rejected in the third round from the Amazon. So two times I was rejected by Amazon. That time, like I got an offer from Paytm. So 1 year of journey in Paytm, that was quite commendable. I got to learn so many things, good open source frameworks in the field of big data, and rapid development, pressure, dealing with the things, creating good solutions, good data pipelines. So good enhancement in my skill set. And after 1 year, I somehow started feeling saturated. So I also wanted to do some experiment with my job profile, because Paytm was a product based company, but I was also thinking somehow how consulting profile actually works. Okay, uh, I just wanted to see in the consulting environment how people actually work, what kind of skill enhancement I can get. So I applied in McKinsey. I was again hired by McKinsey, and I spent 4 months there. Uh, as I as I told you, right, I was just wanted to experiment with my job profile. So in the 4 months, what I realized, I guess consulting profile is not a good fit for me. So like as soon as I realized it, I started looking out for the again product based opportunities. So third time I applied in Amazon, and this time like March 2020, I was able to crack Amazon. And third attempt, this was the third attempt. That journey was long, like 2016 first time when Amazon visited my college, and 2020. So that 4 year gap, The journey was so good. I learned so many things in between, and the end result, it took time, but it was so yummy.
So, like, work hard, be patient, you will
Yeah.
get it. What you want, you will get it. Just need to stick on and work hard and be patient.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
So,
So you should like have a never give up kind of attitude. And as I said, like do not just keep blaming yourself. Okay, whatever mistakes has happened, you should analyze it and move forward. That would be the key. If you are just in the depression kind of thing, okay, I'm not able to crack anything, I'm useless, I can't do anything in my life, then probably you won't be able to do anything in your life because you are thinking, you kept on thinking. So
yeah,
that's not a good
exactly.
idea, I would say. Just follow a never give up attitude. Obviously, sometimes things will take time, but if you are passionate enough, you are working hard, probably not in 2 years, not in 3 years, 4, 5 years later, you will get the result for sure.
And you are like talking about thinking also, like we shouldn't give negative thoughts. So, like, I have heard this and I believe this personally, that manifestation is something very important. What do you think?
Yeah.
An energy will be created. Like, if you think positive, a positive energy will be created, and the universe will help you get those things. Maybe it's late, but you will get it.
Yeah.
So think positive. Those who are having hard times, just stick to it. Like, if you're really passionate about it, you will get it. And if you don't get it,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
means that it's not meant for you. Something better is there which you are not looking into. Just look around and you will get that. Right.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. True, true. I agree on that. So, yeah, that's how, I mean, positivity is like the key factor, like in
Yeah.
our life, right? If we are positive with our thoughts, definitely universe will try to help us to get our things done.
So true, so true. So, like, you applied, as you said, you applied in Amazon and you got rejected 3 times, and then
Yeah,
like 2 times, right? And then for the third time, you got selected. So, what
yeah.
do you think? What different thing you did that led to a selection? Did you do something different, like something hatke?
I won't say I did anything kind of hatke. I was just following a straight path, right? So, like, first attempt, definitely I made some mistake. Let's say I was not able to crack the written round. So, when I was applying for the second time, right? So, I had that thought, okay, in the first attempt, I did some sort of mistake. In the second attempt, I'm not going to repeat it. So somehow I was able to cover it, and that's why at least I was able to clear 3 rounds at least, right? But somehow, okay, something went wrong, and I was not able to clear the all the interview rounds. Even in the third attempt when I was applying, so I had uh, like I already analyzed those mistakes which I did in my first attempt and second attempt. So there, and when you are basically some sort of industrial experience, let's say 2 years, 3 years, and you have been through with multiple interviews, because even before the Amazon, I have been through with different interviews of startup and good companies as well. So that will also help you to give some sort of motivation, because you will feel okay, you are well prepared, and you are able to answer the questions, you are able to solve the problems, you can face the interviews, you can face the uh, let's say good technical discussion as well. So sometimes whenever you have this kind of confidence, then you can think that yep, you are now interview ready, and now like you should target good product based companies and the tech giants. So that's what I did. Like before exactly appearing into the Amazon the third time, I again like interviewed for a few of the companies which gave me a kind of momentum, right? And when I felt that I'm in a good state to appear in Amazon interview, I applied and I was interviewed and hired. So that was the thing. And like major thing which helped me a lot, the development skills, like right after getting 2 3 years of industrial experience, uh, they won't judge you on the coding, data structures, algorithms part a lot. There will be a good balance of everything, like judging on the data structures, programming part, development skills, your past project, what kind of challenges you have faced in your past projects. That will be a good combination, right? So that's how like it went for me.
Okay. So like when you are applying off campus, so did you just directly go to the portal and apply it, or did you go through referral?
Yeah. So for the third time, like second time, I do remember I applied through a career portal and I got the interview call. But this third time, since few of my friends were working in Amazon, so I reached out to them because referral, to be very honest, is the best way to get an interview call. But please do not consider it that somebody is referring you, then it's a guarantee that you are going to get an interview call. That's not true. So let's say somebody refers you, definitely it will be a fast forward process, right? Because that guy can directly reach out to the recruiter. Okay, I'm referring this candidate. And why companies basically do give preferences to the referral? Because let's say they hired someone. Okay, let's say Amazon hired me, and based on my skills, I was able to crack the Amazon, and I'm working with that. So they will, and let's say someone who worked with me previously, and I'm referring to that guy. So Amazon will have that kind of thought, okay, these two guys work together, so we can basically test him, right? Because if this guy is performing well, so whomsoever probably he's referring may have that kind of skill set as well. Okay, so that kind of thought process actually works. And as I said, they will definitely scan your resume, they will scan your profile, they will look into it, and if it looks good to them based on the skill set, experience, and the kind of tech stack or the kind of project experience they are expecting from a candidate, if it looks good to them, then you will get an interview call. But if you are just thinking you are average with the things, and you, let's say somebody refer you and you will get an interview call for sure, that is not going to happen. The screening process would be definitely same, but yeah, the process, if you are applying for a referral, it will be a fast forward.
Okay. Okay. So like, so from this, what I can say is like resume building is very important, because there are
Yeah,
tons of resumes that a big company get a day. So making your resume stand out is a very big thing, right? So what are your
correct.
some of the tips that you would like to give for resume building, like that pro tips?
Ye- yeah, so that is the important thing. Definitely your resume will help you a lot to create good opportunities for you, right? And it will help you to land in a good job itself. So what crisp advices I would like to give you guys, that if you are a fresher, definitely try to make one page resume. Because even like if you're having 2 3 years of experience, I personally think that your resume could have been in one page. But how you can optimize the space, how well you should write your resume, what you should mention actually. So I will mention those things in few simple points. First thing, nobody cares about your personal address, like the entire 2 3 lines of address, where you are living, what's your mother name, what's your father name. They do not care about it. They only care about 2 3 important things: what is your current location, the city, what is your working email id, what is your working mobile number. That's it. These things should be on top, the header side, right? So that they can quickly reach out to you. Next thing would be skill set. I have seen people writing like starting part, and whatever, let's say they know 10 15 skills, they are writing like comma comma heading technical skills, this one comma this one comma this one, and so on. That is also not a good idea, right? Let's say you have 10 15 sort of different skills, you should categorize it. Make a heading technical skill. Under that, let's say you know 3 programming languages, so make a heading programming language, then python comma java comma c++. Let's say you know 2 3 kind of databases, make a heading like database and mysql, postgres, and redshift, right? So that's how you should categorize your skill sets as well, so that it looks more categorized and clean, concise. Most important part would be, do not try to put anything which is fake. I mean, let's say you in the job description you have seen, okay, this company is demanding for this skill set, but you have only heard about that skill set theoretically, or let's say you have explored it theoretically. You do not know any practical thing about it. You haven't got any industrial exposure about that skill set. Then I would recommend, please do not mention it on your resume, because in the interviews, when interviewer will start asking questions around that, that means you will mess up the things and you will minimize the chances of the cracking interviews. So please be aware with that. You, let's say you know 5 skill set and those are really strong, just mention those skill sets and you are done, right? Third thing would be the projects, right? I have seen people writing paragraph, right? Let's say they have worked on a project, they are writing kind of essay in the entire 1 page of a resume, explaining everything end to end. Again, nobody cares about it. Okay, so how it should be basically very compact, exactly compact. Whatever problem statement, 2 3 words, that should be the heading, the project duration in front of it, in 2 3 lines, max to max 3, minimum 2 lines, your project explanation should be there, and that too in the single line, bulleted, right? That's how you can minimize the space, because even in the interviews, interview will ask you to explain your project, because he or she will only read the heading. If it looks interesting to them, they will ask you, okay, what was the problem statement, what kind of challenges did you face, how did you implement it, what kind of tech stack you use. That conversation will be happening there. So no need to write everything in your resume itself about the project. That is the good idea I have followed and it worked for me. And fourth thing which I would like to include for the project, that is, I mean, let's say you have worked on 5 6 projects. Okay, again, nobody will care about going through all the 6 projects, reading about it and then shortlisting you. I would say mention 2 3 very solid projects. Let's say there are 6 projects you worked upon, but 3 projects where your contribution was more than 80%, and those 3 projects you know really really well, all the ins and outs, its architecture, its purpose, right? It's the entire life cycle. You should mention those projects, so that if the interviewer asks any random questions around that, you are able to tackle it because you have worked upon it. That was the fourth thing. Fifth thing, definitely, if you have some sort of achievements, feel free to put it. But again, nobody is going to care about that you won essay competition in 8th standard. Do not try to mention that. Relevant achievements, like I would say past 3 4 years, if you think it's a relevant, then you should mention it. So that would be the overall idea behind creating a good and impactful, crisp, short resume.
That's like, I got the entire picture of it, and I am sure the audience will also get it. Like, it's so accurate the way you said it. So, like,
Yeah.
while you're working in a company, like you were working
Mhm.
in Paytm, McKinsey, and then you were also thinking that I need to do a switch, I need something better. So,
Mhm.
you were applying in the same time also. So, like, how did you deal with this and how did you prepare for it? Like, handling two things at one time, like working and preparing.
Yeah, that's always a tough challenge for everyone. Whosoever is planning for a switch along with their current job, they will definitely face the difficulty of time management. So here, what I think the important part is intent and dedication, right? If you have these 2 things, then definitely you will be able to figure out some time in your daily job life, and I would say 2 to 3 hours, right? And these are manageable, I personally think. In a like 24 hours, you have definitely some time dedicated to the sleep hours and then your office hours. Definitely there will be a 2 3 dedicated hours which you can focus on your the preparation part. Okay, so may like I have no very broad explanation for that, so that's why I'm saying important things: your intent, your dedication. Also, the important thing would be crisp roadmap, because sometimes what happens, people start preparing very very randomly. Okay, let's say they are targeting a company, they are randomly, let's say today they are focusing on one subject, one topic, on very next day they are started preparing any random topic. That is also a bad idea. So let's say you have targeted a good company, so obviously you will start preparing probably 1 month back, 2 months back. First step should be create a roadmap. What all things you do not know, that should be your priority, right? Okay, I am weak in these parts, I should give more time to it. Whatever you know in a better way, that will take very, very less time while revising the things or while preparing for the interviews. So that's how, like, the clear roadmap, your intent, your dedication, and the consistency. It shouldn't be like, okay, today somehow because of any random positivity I'm so motivated enough that I have planned for this switch. Next day, okay, like who cares, job is going fine, probably I won't look for a switch. That shouldn't happen. If you have decided, it should be consistent until you crack the next job opportunity. So that would be some key factor, like high level crisp key factor which I have followed.
To have a strong intent, the most important key factor. Yeah. So,
Yeah,
like
correct.
you also started with e-learning bridge, and it's your own brand, right? You help there and you bring out so much of innovative content in that channel. So, like, how did the idea came? Like coming in front of the camera and teaching to people and helping them out and starting your own brand. So, how did like the idea came in your mind?
So that was, I mean, I always, as I said, like I used to love interact with, like I used to love interacting with different people, and since the gap which I filled actually means, as I said, right, the awareness, which is very, very important. As I already told you that that was the thing which was missing in my time. So what I thought that, okay, probably I have spent like more than 3 years in the IT industry. Probably I am in my dream company now as well. I can work on my skill sets. Along with that, I can help the community itself, right? So that was the plan. Like before this COVID time, I was not getting that much motivation. Okay, how I should plan it. But somehow this lockdown time given me that opportunity to utilize that lockdown period really, really well. And that was the moment like when I started my YouTube channel. And the idea was definitely to bring people from different companies, because I know, like we have interview experiences on different websites and these things, right? You can read it and just take an idea, but people used to connect more if someone is talking about that experience in a realistic way, right? So that was my thought process. Okay, knowing about the interview process is also a very, very important thing. Like, okay, today I'm preparing for the, let's say, Amazon. What would be the interview process? I'm not aware about it. Okay, so that was the entire theme. And again, I had to add the motivation factor as well. So my target was to bring people who had some sort of struggle story, like they didn't achieve in things in an easy way, so that I can put up an example in front of the audience. Okay, if this guy can do it, you can also do it. So that was the entire theme behind running this channel. And so far response is so good, people are loving it. I'm thankful to them that they have supported me, and I wish this keeps on going.
I wish to it keeps on going because it personally helps me. I'm a college student, so I really do follow your channel a lot. And like, how do you handle the pressure? Like now you are in Amazon, there will be a workload. You are also a public face now. People look up to you, and you have so many stuff to do. So like, is the pressure more now, or it was more when you were struggling to come to this position?
No, yeah, now the pressure is more, because once people start expecting from you, and not to in less number, in a huge number, then I mean, it's a responsibility. It feels like a responsibility, because on daily basis, I used to get hundreds of messages, and and I'm so connected with the community itself. That's what I said. Like I cannot ignore them. What I can do simply, okay, I'm just running my YouTube channel. I don't care about the audience and these things. I won't respond to their comments. I won't respond to their Telegram messages and all. I cannot do that. I'm not that kind of person. I know it would be hard for me to respond each and every one, but whenever I get a free time, definitely I try my level best to connect with each and everyone and how well I can help them. Because as I said, I have been through that phase where a single direction of awareness or right direction could have turned my life in a better way. So I personally think if somehow I'm adding a value in someone's life, that would be an achievement. Like I have achieved everything. So before leaving this planet, I just want to do these kind of stuff.
That's such a noble idea, actually. And you really do, like, you really do care about your audience. Like, I have also connected with you, and the response was pretty, like, it was so nice. So, like, also, since you are caring so much about the audience and everything, but you need to have your own time and your own space where you can chill out. So, like, how do you deal with your stress? Like, sometimes you are stressed out, also you have so many stuff to do. Like, what do you do then? Like, how do you balance and manage everything?
Yeah, that's the good point actually. But as I said, like the personal time is very, very less now. I would definitely say I have no personal time. Audience, whosoever is listening this video, I haven't confessed till now in my platform itself, but definitely I have no personal time because I have devoted everything to my job and along with the community. So but still whenever, let's say I am so stressed, let's say it's work or working on the videos and scripting and everything, then I'm very fond of rap music, like underground rap music. So I'm very, very fond of it, like listening good rappers, mostly the Indian rappers. There are like Divine is there, Ikka is there, Raga is there, Raftar is there. I used to listen their song and it gives me a lot of pump, right? Okay, I'm just after listening one rap song, motivated rap song, I'm ready for my next task. So that's how like I used to spend my time, and it is working for me because those words, like what I was saying, like the struggle, the motivation factor, because I think rappers are the single basically person who talks about the reality. They actually talk about the ground reality, what they have faced, that too in a very, very motivating way. So for me, yeah, I'm that kind of person. I don't spend my time watching some random series and movies. I am not that kind of person. Yeah, definitely I'm a very fond of rap music, underground rap battles and music. So I used to spend my time in that way.
Great, great. So, my last question, one advice that you would like to give all the students who are aiming for a tech giant company and want to have a successful career one day.
Okay, so if you are watching this video carefully from the beginning, definitely I don't think so I have to explain the things again, that what actually will take you forward towards your dream or the product based company or whatever you are planning. So few things, definitely I would, first thing I would focus upon self awareness. That is very, very much important. Second thing would be your passion towards your dream, because I have seen people who used to get the facilities but they are not utilizing in a better way. But I have also seen people who didn't get that much facilities but still they made, right, they cracked the good things, they like worked really hard for their bright future. So if you are getting the opportunities, facilities in a proper way, utilize it. Whenever you fail, just follow the never give up attitude. That is going to help you, like, until you are onto this planet, right? Whenever on in any phase of your career or any phase of your life, you are feeling that you are a failed person and you are failing again and again, then never lose hope. Follow the never give up attitude. Be passionate about your dreams. Keep chasing it. Your intent should be really, really strong. Your dedication will matter a lot, and your consistency would be the key factor for everything. So these are the some important points which you need to like think upon. And as I said, yeah, definitely it will help you to like get successful in your career. Apart from that, guys, definitely you should also enjoy your life. That will be also one more additional factor. Like you should also have a personal space, personal time where you can hang out with friends, hang out with your family, hang out with your girlfriend, boyfriend, whosoever in your life who is close to you more. You need to spend that time as well, because that time won't come back again, as I told you, right? If you are just spending your entire life towards your job and earning money and fulfilling your dreams, and when you are dead, then you will feel regret, right? Okay, I have wasted my entire life in some materialistic things. I didn't enjoy the life. So that is also one more important point.
That's like amazing advice. Thank you for your time, and it was so good to have you on the show. Thank you so much.